Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have the rank 1 Vi using Electrocute with special Umbral tag Dupa on NA. Now, we're going to have a little bit of a suboptimal start to this game, but I also want to show you this game because it is such a good example of, you know, if I let the Zac farm and I let him get away with stuff, we will get outscaled. Obviously, terrible level 1 there, just sitting and chilling and not paying attention, maybe reading Twitch chat. Make sure you watch your level 1 counter invades so you don't have to burn your flash. But for the Vi, starting level Q here, this is not ideal, right? It's not ideal that we have to start a suboptimal rune, but at the same time, can we play around it? And that's very important here, because sometimes people go on invades in lower elo games, they struggle to really get going because they make it the wrong spell usage, and it compromises their entire early game. Let's observe. Runes on your screen now, Electrocute is the way, plus a full damage spec Vi with a new itemization. Hopefully you can enjoy the damage that will come forth. It shall be serious. And just so you know, I will be doing a Vi Challenger versus, Silver 1, Gold 4 comparison video on my main channel very soon, comparing what happens if you have 1 million points plus on a champion in terms of mastery, but there's such a large separation rank. What is the thing that holds you back when you think you actually know your champion? Excuse me. Let's observe how this Vi actually knows the champion, because it's pretty damn good. From blue, we're going to drag it into the Grump. Now notice how the camp was dragged, and then we used our Q to finish it off, use our smite straight into the Grump. Even if you have a suboptimal start, you can very easily simply still clear properly. And that's actually funny, because when I was looking at these comparisons, I looked at this video, looked at a few others when they're behind and so on, and I will look at those game states as well. And then I looked at a Silver Gold 4 Vi with 1 million points of the same scenario. The clear, even with a Q start, was way worse, and of course regular clears were way worse as well. From this we go into the Wolves, simple blue side. Obviously with Vi you're looking for a standard 4 cam. The Lucian uses his Prio to go get this one. Now, this isn't actually the best ward. If you're Vi and you see this, as I've covered quite a bit on stream recently, you can adapt. Even as a 4 cam clearer, even as a full cam clearer, you can say, look, let me register what's happening in the lanes with their vision, and then cut across and make an impact. This is something I covered in the bootcamp, actually, which is still ongoing, so if you're interested in that, I'll leave the tickets below, where we discussed this very heavily. A farming clear jungler Hecarim had a very similar situation. The mid laner placed a ward on the top side, thinking the Hecarim was going to be there. No, the Hecarim wasn't there, was he? The Hecarim cut the 3 camp, ganked it, knowing that the vision wouldn't be spotted. And then Vi does that and grabs some kills. Leaves Rumble to push by himself. I think here we could definitely help push, but we don't really want to lose our camps either. Although typically I would say help your mid laner, push it out, let them reset sooner, let the wave crash and get denied a lot sooner. And then from there, you can fall back into Crab, Red, and Raptors. Now, if we're tracking this properly, we see here on the bottom side here, a Zac. Now, obviously, I'm just going to reverse this, because when you see this in-game, please, okay, if you're uncertain exactly what clear was done for whatever reason, I mean, it should be pretty obvious to you with the blue buff and the timings, but look here, you see? Crestive inside is mostly ticked and red is new, which means if you click that and look at it, even if you were unsure, you can see that blue was taken first because it's almost expired, and red was taken more recently. So we know that Zac's going to be in the bottom side taking the bottom crab, and we know that when he shows up with 13 CS that he got a ward and he got 3 camps. Now, because we don't have Prio here, and there's no real need to be super conservative with this Prio thing, you could always walk back, I think, if we're tracking it, but if you're really blind or you just really want to be cautious, walk around the top lane, get to your red, and let's finish this off. Now, our timer for us is around that 4:15 to 20 mark for the second tier Grump. We want to make sure we impact every lane and get ourselves infused as well. Vi can still clear pretty quickly. Now, what I want you to focus on mostly when you're watching this Vi is Q mobility through walls, Q mobility around the map, and this is especially important as you rank it up, and the cooldown becomes quite minuscule in comparison to what used to be way back in the day. Itemization will be interesting as well to notice the spikes. We do want the serrated duck first. We see here the Zac with absolutely horrific pathing, not tracking the fog and war of the minions. Very lazy. Don't cut the map here if the minion wave is there. You cannot have these 2 minions pushed up on the logo, because you know you'll be seen. So that's lazy, but we know where the Zac is. Rakan shows up as well. We're not concerned with this. We're going to ping the bottom lane. Guys, we saw the Zac run through. We see the Rakan mid lane. Please be cautious. A plant gets hit, so we know that there's someone there. Be very disciplined about your communication. Talking a lot about this week in the bootcamp. Even if they don't listen, right, you have to do it, because if they do listen, like in this situation, you get protection. They actually respect what you're telling them, and you can get huge advantages. Now, the Soraka, unfortunately, gets a little bit caught out here. If a jungler shows up and it's a 3v1, don't concern yourself with it. You're not going to be able to change the nature of that fight. Solo top lane exists. How nice for us. We have a winning top laner for once. It feels like a lot of these gameplays, we have had no winning top lanes. A lot of times they're inting lately. So it's nice to have a winning top lane. And I have had a lot of 30-minute videos talking about losing lanes, and I think it's important to see what do we do if we have winning lanes, or what do we do if we have made the game win. While I'm chatting here, bot lane gets caught out anyway. Vi notices this, goes in. Zac hits the chain Q to get the CC. Rumble has prior, but it doesn't really matter. So in this particular situation, if you're going to be sequencing and your bot lane's going to disrespect where the Zac might be and you're not able to rotate, I like the discipline to try and see maybe we can do something, even if you see it a little bit late, but otherwise nothing you can do there. So now your bot lane is actually behind and the top lane is winning. How do we proceed? Because obviously the level 1 didn't really compromise us too much. I love the ward recognition of the Lucian and then sequencing underneath. Very, very well done. Try and implement that into your game. And now the Vladimir is pushed back into the wave. He is not quite yet 6. He has 5, but he disengages. Might have had some vision here, or just as a general point, wants to play safe and recall. We do try to go for some blue side invade. Zac is behind, but you must be very cautious. So what happens is the Zac goes all in without prio, and in lower elo games, this will happen. Don't tell me this doesn't happen in your lower elo games. We have prio now in the mid lane. We had the Vladimir show top lane who was just sitting in a bush and relaxing, and the Zac goes all in when he shouldn't and gets killed for it. Because he's level 5, because of suboptimal pathing, and the Vi has done good smooth pathing, you put the Zac in the precarious situation of having to fight for his life. Of course, he loses. Vlad pool is burst. Can we try something? No, we already had the flash Q used earlier, so worth noting the snappiness of flash Qs is super good. I like this play. I like this play when you have strong lanes, when you have lanes that are ahead, because now the farming jungler must not relax. And I think this is a big difference between high elo and low elo. In low elo, you might try and go for this. You might be the Zac just trying to farm and scale, but the enemy jungler is not going to invade you and sort of cut you up and punish you, you know? But in high elo, the Vi is going to say, listen, I'm not going to let you relax, farm, and gank. I'm going to get in your face so we don't lose this game before you become a demonic embrace, huge tanky beef boy. You know, we want to avoid that as much as possible. The blue, again, little bit greedy. Pay attention to your backtimers in the mid lane. And it was a good call to say, you know what? That was greedy. I'm going to bounce. And I just had a master coaching today where I was suggesting things, and then, you know, we kind of stopped and go, you know what, actually, that's a little greedy. So it does happen in game, it does happen in coaching. You kind of think, can I really take all of this stuff? And then, if you recognize it's too greedy, good on you. Good on you. The game is still in a bit of a balanced state, it's pretty close. We have farmed a little bit, we're 2-0-0, we are 6. So with Vi, you want to use that 6 spike as soon as possible. At this point, if we know the Zac died here, and we presuppose he just kind of took this in sequence down, it's good that we match this. Now, if you know 100% that their bot lane is pushing and low, and you can go straight down and gank it with your ult, do so. But if there's a bit of a question mark as to have that reset, do my bot lane want to reset, don't force it. You can simply do your sequencing and relax. I do think we should try to do the Grump first, though, just because it gives you good Wolf Grump sequencing, and then we can pull together the blue, so that sequencing is nice and tight for respawners. But it's usually not the end of the world when you're Vi, it's more farming jungler practice. Soraka has ditched and now is coming mid lane. We use the Emerald Glaive to immediately destroy that ward, excuse me. And you would have seen from the runes that when you destroy very quickly, you get a lot of residual vision left up from these ghost poros. Oh, wait, I always confuse zombie and ghost. Zombie ward, there you go, see, I knew it. I always confuse the terms. I know which one it is, I just swap the names, like Greenland and Iceland. So Zac is bottom lane, what are you doing, my good sir? We try to hit the Q. We don't go deciding to just ult the backline. You see that? We miss the Q. We don't just ult the backline and disappear. If you miss the Q and you don't have that stack CC and you can't kill someone with your ultimate, it's better to simply turn on the target that's way too deep. You've used your Q to separate them, which is great. It's a nice separator. And then you can just kill the person who's out of position. If what happens is you have HP resource prior for the dragon, you can take the dragon. Please do. In the meantime, we know we've destroyed the vision. We use our Q to get around the map, and we do have ultimate here. So let's go. Flash Q, hit it, ult it, stunk it, kill it. Yes, very nice. Full combo there for you guys. You can run that in slow motion if you want to pay attention to the tiny mechanics. But of course, I will leave every match history link in the description below. If you're on NA, you simply type in the name, and you can download the replays yourself as well. Now, we do kind of want to carry on about our business, but if you see a fight on the bot lane that you can impact, please rotate and assist. Aphelios hits buttons. Aphelios has dancing blades around him. Aphelios does things. Pretty much how you can summarize it. Nice disengage, good help. Again, if you can take the dragon, do, but don't force it. Just because you're fight doesn't mean you need to force that dragon. Especially considering dragon isn't really a win con in this game. Aatrox is winning. We've basically won mid. We abused the early vision, and the fact that the bot lane is losing is really not a concern for us. We have a Soraka. We have an Aphelios. And yes, he can be outranged a little bit, but we really don't need him to close this game out. So we're not getting to these soul points, okay? And that's the most important thing here. Out of base, into our Raptors to shadow the mid lane. I think if you know 100% your mid lane is going to base, it's better to go out of base to Krug's red Raptors so that you can sequence up nicely as the mid laner gets back to lane. And then what happens is you can very easily look to make a play. Whereas now if you do this and you're sequencing out, you're going to be spaghetti pathing, walking back inward over ground you've already walked, and you're losing a little bit of efficiency. So try and always path in the direction of where you want to go, and watch your laners' back timings. There we go. My mind is really infused with a lot of jungle content this week. I'm bleeding the things I want to say in my brain, and I can't. Well, my brain isn't bleeding physically, but it feels like it is with all this jungle jumbo language that I kind of just want to lay on you right now. As you can see, I can't even complete a full sentence about it. But we do have pressure in the top lane here for Prior. We did sequence out. We can go into the river and we can do the Herald. But we could have made this play a little better. Maybe look for something here, scanned here. We don't need to scan because we have Emerald Glaive. And then obviously falling back to the Herald. So this play could be a little bit more snappy, but in the concept of this game, it's absolutely fine. Everything's fine. Everything's okay. You see the Zac on the bottom side there. He's going to do the dragon. Obviously, it's a high elo game, so we want to abuse the top lane. Flash is burned. Pool is burned. Hello, sir. Might I interest you in the word of fist and fury? And hey, we'll take that kill. Herald plates get destroyed. Good usage. Even though the Waven isn't in a good state, the Aatrox recognizes what's happening and plays accordingly. And you know what? Even in your elos, the Vlad's not going to know this, so the Vlad's just going to be pushed up in a good ganking way. Just gank it, push it, use a Herald. Same thing's going to happen in silver, same thing will happen in gold. Nothing's going to be weird about that whatsoever. From here, obviously, our mid lane is going to go down, use his Rumble Fire, and try and get something back. Obviously, we didn't get the dragon. Zac shows up, Rumble is fed, and you know, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about very, very heavily. Luciano shows up. This is what I'm talking about. By getting mid-fed, by getting and supporting top lane as best you can, even though he was winning, you know, we prevented the Zac in coin flipping that in the opposite direction. And in low elo games, what happens is if you sequence very well, get yourself infused, and you positively impact the lane, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? The coin flip goes in your favor because you've gotten your lane as leads. And again, the Vi sees this, rotates immediately, and we can make a huge play because we have Sheen plus Umbral Glaive plus, you know, the lethality component of that. Nice play, very well done. So we get mid ahead, which means even if mid makes the wrong play in low elo, they're just going to win the stat check. I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to, is getting our team's items, experience, and stats that they can use even for bad fights. But even if they're bad fights, they'll win because no one's really piloting their champions properly. And the best thing you can do, obviously, is to make sure you shadow these situations, you rotate to them when they're good. And when you see a doomed scenario, don't get doomed also. Yeah, it's my best advice. I mean, if you can turn this fight, turn it. But if it looks a bit out of position, you can just go take the red, and then again, you can go back in if it looks good. I mean, it looked doomed. The blue team overchased. You said, I don't want to be a part of this, so you did your red, and then it presented itself again. So sometimes a good scenario becomes a better scenario. You see the damage? Just a QE. It's a lot of damage. So what looked bad, so we said, okay, I'll do red, ended up looking very, very good, and the team just kind of ran into her. And if this is happening in Challenger, it's happening all the time. And I'm going to keep saying it because I'm tired of excuses. Apply the fundamentals. Fundamentals will carry you wherever you want to go, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you want to go. Now, in this particular situation, obviously, it's good to take outermost objectives and then fall back. If you have a Herald and a Crab and a blue, you can say, like, you steal the blue, you can take the Crab, you can take the Herald, and you can reward yourselves with your quadrant. So we didn't do our blue side or our red side. We did our red side because we didn't have a lane. You know, like Rumble was base, so we did our red side. Rumble's in lane, Aatrox in lane, now we can take the objective. In this scenario, we rotated, we ganked to create prio, we took camps, we benefited from a situation, we took more camps, we fell back to this, we fell back to this, and now there's nothing they can do. Because you took the high risk stuff when it was low risk, and now you can fall back to your stuff, which is always low risk, you know? Unless you're in a losing game state. So keep that in mind when you want to snowball games as well. We do want to reset here. We have 4,000 gold. So this is a very good example of a long extended sequence. Don't stay out too long, though, because, you know, what happens is if you stay out too long and you rotate to that fight now with 4,000 gold, you're probably going to lose it because you haven't spent so much gold. And even if you do stay out, you kind of keep staying out. I kind of need to rotate to this. I kind of need to rotate to that. I can't really back now. So at some point, you just have to force the back when it's a good back for you. And if your team throws, your team throws. The main thing is you're huge. You have Trinity Force. You have Umbral Glaive. You're going to be building into Death's Duns. There's nothing they can do. Sissa. There you go. We go to the top side here because that's where our camps are. Red is going to be spawning. We don't really want to be waiting around for our camps. But if it happens every now and then as we want to secure this and start to push the map forward, then that's absolutely fine. But that whole bottom lane sequence, you know, taking her camps, taking the Herald, seeing Zac bot lane, beating the bot lane, going to the top tower, breaking the plate, stealing the blue side, rotating, stealing the red side. The gold lead just went, you know, the game was relatively equal. Never really was truly equal, but it was relatively equal. And the Vi just kind of escalated the game state in such a beautiful way. The Soraka coming up absolutely huge, okay? Vi's able to yeet in there for the smite, and Zac is going to die as well. So, you know, just getting your mid lane ahead for pure stats, even by accident, is so good. I love it. And now we push into the jungle, and we steal the high-risk stuff, which is now low risk because everybody's dead. We see the Yin. We say, excuse me, I'm level 12, Sir Yin, and my Q's on such a low cooldown. That's how you do it. You know, what are we at now with our haste? 405 seconds. I mean, how do you run away from that even as a Jhin? 3 levels down on the Vine, even bothered to take that fight. I mean, I know you have a tower, but really? Do you really have a tower? But I like this. Rotate again, cut the fight off, make plays, cut them off, allow your team to get towers. Rotate to the situation again, pool is down, so that's a dead Vladimir, 100%. You see how she's just casually taking the jungle over on the enemy team, moving from side to side with her mobility, and now we can fall back to that second dragon. Sometimes you might have to give up 2 dragons, but in the case of taking the Herald for it, I think it's absolutely fine. Obviously, because Herald is the thing that kind of broke open this game, isn't it? 100%. Just looking at my audio meter, it looked a bit odd in Streamlabs. Streamlabs actually crashed while I was streaming the day 1 bootcamp, so I lost the recording. I was going to release it, and I lost it. So now I'm kind of paranoid. I'm like looking at the minimap, looking at the recording, and then I look back at you guys. So overall, a really, really strong and fluid game. Great read and react early, even if the suboptimal clear was because of the level 1. Excellent way to snowball the mid lane. Used ult righteously when it was available, didn't concern herself too much with the bottom lane, and now whenever there's fights that she needs to rotate to as a Feb member, she will do so. And if your laners can carry it, they can carry it, you know? But you don't not rotate thinking your laners can carry it. You rotate thinking they're gonna need me, because I'm the Fed one. I have my 3-item core spike of death, let me arrive. Let me try and help it out. And that's really, really something big worth noting, because so many times people will just kind of farm this thinking they got it. All of a sudden, shutdowns, bounties go in reverse, you lose a Herald here. It's not good, yeah? I don't really think we need this Herald 100%. Our team are kind of really pushing it. The game is kind of won, but I think as long as you stay true to yourself and your fundamentals, you'll be able to win this. We're watching here as I go for this. They're super, super fed, but again, like Soraka's dead now, right? Vlad has killed Soraka. Rakan goes in here, and now they're forced to pull out a little bit, and we have the Herald and we can chop. So the Vice just said, you carry on messing around. I'm going to clear these wards. There we go. Very nice. Phyllis is split pushing. Again, now we've got 2 dead, more shutdowns. Play your game, guys. Don't be roped into bad decisions to close it out. I think the Herald's the right call here because push the waves out. Phyllis is on the bottom side. We can move into the jungle. Vlad, for some reason, is TPing into this. That could work out pretty poorly for him. But now, of course, our team are dead. That doesn't matter. Relax. Do the right thing. I just had, as I said, the master coaching was really, really great for this. Just be a little bit measured in terms of how you close games out. Don't force things too much unnecessarily, especially with this big lead, because you never know. You are the one that if you stay, be the pillar for your team. Be the pillar for your team. Now we can fall back. We've taken all the risky stuff. We've taken the objective. We can yeet all these camps, of course. We have now 1200. Is there anything you really want to buy that could change the nature of the next fight, or are you fed enough? If you're fed enough and you don't need to reset, don't. We see the Rumble fisting the Zac on the top side. Hello, Mr. Rubber. There's a pun there, 100%. And he will... Here we go. The burn! There you go, nice. Always use your ultimate. We have activated the Herald as well. Our Aphelios has joined us. This guy is tilted, not paying attention. And our Aatrox is now pushing the top lane. So, the Vi doesn't back there because she sees the rest of her team joining the map. So instead of detaching herself again and creating another environment where you kind of outnumbered and give shutdowns, stay with your team, activate the Herald, join them up. You've got now 4 people mid lane. You've got the Herald pushing. Soraka dies anyway. And then Aatrox is, of course, pushing the top side. So a very good example of Yeah, it can be a little bit boring for you in terms of having fun, but I do think being 11-0-3 and winning the game is fun. So while you don't get to limit test and run around like an idiot, you know, maybe dying a lot and giving shutdowns, that's fine. I'm okay letting them do that as long as you play properly. Okay, let's have a look here. Can we enter at any point? No, because again, we're just being pushed out. This is what I'm talking about. So there we go. Nice assassination move. Patience, patience, patience. Waits, hits the Q, hits the ult. We burn the flash from the yin, and now we can bounce. You see? So don't fight. Wait. I don't want to fight this. Just see, can I assassinate the backline and maybe just put it a little bit out of favor? Yes, great. You see? So you still get to have fun, but it's not always absolutely free real estate, is it? In terms of this game being won. I mean, you thought the beginning this game's over. I thought this game was over. And yet, twice now, wrong pushes, wrong fights, wrong positioning equals you guys lose. And the gold lead swings back a little bit. It's not a lot, but it swings back a little bit. And we've all been in those games where things get thrown in the opposite direction. Ideally, we can just try and force a Baron here. There's no real soul point or Dragon Soul to worry about. If someone out pushes their vision line, destroy them. Just kill them. I love the Triforce for Squishy build. Overall, he does like to go Umbral Glaive into Triforce pretty much most games. The raw damage is absolutely insane, and obviously Death Stuns. Beautiful item for fighters. Again, out of position, make the kill, catch the wave. Aatrox is going to be flying around a little bit, trying to disrupt with his Qs. Nice flash Q again for the sweet spot knockup. Rumble ult finishes it off. We get the ult for some peculiar reason, didn't really need it. We're going to Q here. We do have our ult available, so we can decide when and if we want to use it. We smite for the slow. We swap it onto the Jhin, who has no flash. We use our stopwatch again. The GA, the stopwatch, prevents a high variance play, and that's how you win. That's why I like it. If you can get a stopwatch and a GA at this particular point in the game, maybe you didn't do that and you now die. And your team, because they rely on you, all dies as a subsequent event. That doesn't even make any sense. They all die because of this. And now the game again goes in the other direction. So early stopwatches and GAs for these particular games are great, because if they can kill you once through a random play, cool. But they're not killing you twice. A very interesting game in terms of how to close out and just play it methodically. Really great game in terms of read and react. Really a smooth game overall. And that's why I liked it. I will highlight in the main channel video where I compare these and compare and contrast these Vi games, subtle differences in game states. It won't be as snowbally, but hopefully you enjoyed this and learned something. Hopefully you like this build. The Umbral Glaive Lethality Spike, super nice. Trinity Force, absolutely strong, and Death Stuns just busted. So there you have it, how to snowball with the rank 1 Vi. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. Please do like, share, and comment if you did. Don't forget, Bootcamp is still going on throughout the week. We have all the VOD access with a standard ticket, so you can catch up and join us for the final few days. Match history is in the description. Thank you for the support, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.